Welcome back to another HVAC-Engineering-Techie training video. Today's training video is the RCx corrective actions and post-project activities. So this is the last module in retrocommissioning. It's on actually how to wrap it all up and how to give your corrected actions to the owner for future work. So this is an important video also. So thank you for joining me today. Don't forget, this is the channel that talks all things HVAC. And again, I'd like you to ask you to become a subscribing member if you haven't already. If you have, thank you very much. If not, all you have to do is push that subscribe button down below and give me a thumbs up if you like the video. They're totally free, cost you nothing. It's absolutely painless to you. No one will bother you, no one will bug you. But the reason for that is Google uses that data to evaluate the videos, which keeps me on the air. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So let's get started on retrocommissioning, corrective actions, and post-project activities. All right, we'll review the other modules, even though I think probably most of you by this time will know what they are, but I'll run through them quickly in case you're new to the session. So Cx-28 is the technical retrocommissioning process. 21 is the overview of the matrix. 22 is the RCx contracts and pre-project planning. 23 is pre-site activities. 24 is system assessment and issue discovery. Cx-25 is system testing. 26 is root cause identification, issue analysis. 27 is quick fixes and system optimization. Today's video is 28, which is RCx corrective actions and post-project activities. So system improvements during the RCx process. System improvements are completed for systems that have operating issues. Remember that way back in the start of the videos, we told you that to do this process, we separate systems that have issues and systems that don't have issues. So systems that are working correctly, we don't mess with, but the systems that aren't working, we're going to fix. So system improvements during the process for systems that have operating issues, so that we're going to do tests. Key improvements are non-tested systems are implemented that will obviously improve performance. So here what we're saying is all through this process, we've concentrated on those systems we know have issues. But now when we're getting into the optimization phase, we're going to do it to everything. For those that had, to those systems that had problems and those that didn't, we're going to do both. Corrective measures after the RCx process is complete. So corrective measures are provided to the owner for future capital improvements that are beyond the basic RCx process. It's beyond the scope of your contract. But now you're going to give the owner a list of things that these are things that need to be fixed to really get your building better. And when you give that to him, he makes a decision whether he's going to fix them or not. He may not. He may not have funds available to do that, but he'll then put it on his improvement list for future years or future months. So you don't have a choice in selecting those. When we do the reports, we actually put them in order of most important, so he has an idea. Now, many of the buildings I've done, they just fix them all. They don't mess around. They say, we want a good building. We've lived with this building not working. We're going to do what you say. So system improvements. The main focus of technical RCx is to make existing systems perform as well as possible without large costs of replacing major systems. To this end, each system is to be optimized to allow the existing system to perform better than before the RCx project was done. At a minimum, the RCx team should perform the following improvements for both tested systems and non-tested systems. So remember where we're at here in the project. You've already done your quick fixes. You've already tested everything. You've already adjusted everything. And now we're at the final point to make it as best we can. So for tested systems, we're going to change the operating schedules as required. Change operating set points as required. Place unoccupied zones into standby mode if they have occupancy sensors. So some sensors, if you know when people are in the space or not, and when they're not, you put it in a standby mode, when it actually changes the set point, not clear back to set back, not to unoccupied, but somewhere in between. So you're going to save a little energy when they're not there. And the minute they come back, it goes, the set point changes back down. So this is a way to save some energy and make comfort just a little bit better. Activate or add reset sequences. Many times sequences are incorrect or blown out altogether. And remember, energy efficiency of a system is always based on reset sequences, and so is comfort. So these are what make your building work, and so this is something you're going to input into the system. Activate economizers are inactive. I think I've said this before, is almost every building I've ever been in, the economizers are not working. And the reason is they get complicated, and while in doubt, if an operator's in doubt, he's going to shut it off. He says if he has any inkling that it's trying to produce more work than it saves, produce more energy than it saves, then he'll close them. And they'll never open them again, so you need to check those out. Verify calibration of terminal unit controllers. We find these wrong on every single job. It's not because the balance guys did it wrong before, but because there's a whole bunch of things that can change these factors. And so it could be they were done wrong, but it could be that time is just taken over to it, or maintenance is taken over from it. Perform final tab adjustments to meet space requirements and tab resolution. So you need to fix anything you found with tab. Now, on most of our jobs, we end up doing a full tab and full control analysis no matter what, because we end up with so many problems with them, it's just easier to take care of it. Verify outside airflow is correct for both ventilation and pressurization requirements so that the building has got the proper pressure, which helps energy and it helps comfort within the building. For non-tested systems, we're going to change the operating schedule as required, change the set points as required, place unoccupied zone into standby mode, activate or add reset sequences, activate economizers if inactive, verify outside airflows for ventilation and pressurization. So we're going to do the same thing we did to tested systems, except, there's a difference here. I don't know if you can see this. But the tested systems, we're going to do this tab, and we're going to slightly different. Here we're doing it, but we're not doing a full tab, not requiring a full tab, if they're already working fine. However, we normally do it totally, but basically you can do a little bit less for non-tested systems because they were proved to be working correctly. So what does a final report have in it? Number one, it has an executive summary, which is an overview of the project, predicted results, table of quick fixes performed with cost savings or return on investment and improvement calculations, table of capital cost recommendations with cost savings, ROI, and improvement calculations. This is your executive summary. This is what the things that very important. And then all your other data can be later, your assessment reports and all that other stuff. Report contents, the title and certification page. The executive summary with recommendations, which is up here. Scope of work for selected recommendations. Normally what we do is we issue this capital recommendation to the owner early. And we say, what we want you to do is look at that, consider it, and tell us which ones you're going to do. And for that we'll give you back a scope of work for selected recommendations that will help you put it out to bid or get a price from your job contractors or whatever. But it's a complete description of what needs to be done. It may include engineering. It may include many other things. RCx plan and the CFR. This is the documents that you created. Cost estimates and calculations for these recommendations. Quick fix reports and results. Now, why did I put cost estimates and calculations? As a retro commissioning guy, what I normally do is just expose everything. When I'm making this list of recommendations, I'm recommending this is what you do, and then when he selects them, I'll give him a complete scope of work. And the reason is because I want him to be successful. You cannot just say, I need you to do this, 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 and give it to him and then disappear. Because your reputation's on the line. You said if you do this, it will fix this. So you need to be involved to make sure that actually happens. So we do all the preliminary engineering. And then what I normally do, because I'm not a PE, is I normally do the preliminary engineering and the design, and I put that on sketches. And then what I do is in the job contractor in the scope of work, the job contractor is to hire a professional engineer to come up with actual required construction documents for that if it requires that. And so that way it keeps the cities happy, the municipalities happy, and I also am involved so that I get to commission the project. So the commissioning of the project is important. If you have someone else build it and test it and it doesn't work, then how can they hold you responsible? So what I'm saying is that you need to put in your contract with the owner that when you hire a job contractor, they're going to pay your commissioning fee to actually make sure and test that system and make sure it works. So you're going to do a quick fix report, assessment reports, and facility operation guide, a bunch of data, testing and training documentation. So you have a whole bunch of data in here, but the important part is this executive summary. Corrective actions and recommendations. Recommendation list of correction actions is created during issue analysis and root cause identification. Each recommendation shall include technical description of the required correction. This is what we want. This is what has to be done. Budget estimates for implementation. Calculated into your water savings, if any. Might not be, but they want this building better. You're still going to do that. Sometimes it's for comfort. Sometimes it's for better operation. Sometimes it's for reduced outside contractor expense. So it could be a lot of different things. The return on investment for each recommendation, scope of work document for any selected corrections. And this could be just a little sketch, it could be just a paragraph, it could be a whole set of documents. So it depends on what it's going to require to be done. Issues are grouped together for the same root cause. Recommended corrective actions are provided to solve each root cause of performance or operational issue. The owner selects which corrective measures they are going to implement from the recommended list of corrections. They select that, and they normally select it on what they feel the need is and what their budget allows. Sometimes the budget is a problem, but it's their money, it's their building, and so they can make that selection. But they always know this is how to correct that. Once the owner selects which recommendation they wish to implement, the RCx team creates preliminary scope of work documents for each recommendation selected. And that's why you want to do it from which they've selected, because if you have 30 suggestions, it takes a lot of time to create these documents. If he's only going to do 2 of them, you only want to do it for the 2 of them. The corrective action shall include a functional description shall be provided that defines how the affected system must perform in order to meet the required performance, including any required calculation used to estimate the improvements or savings. I show them all those calculations. Whether they can read them or not, I don't know, but that's how we calculate it. Operator instructions provide system performance over time. Operating set points required, operational schedules, required maintenance procedures, required operator actions, and total sequence also. Corrective actions may include enclosure insulation and leak repairs, mechanical plumbing or electrical system replacement or upgrades, mechanical plumbing or electrical equipment replacement, refurbishments or upgrades, major equipment repair or enhancements, control system replacement or upgrades, design and construction services, complete facility rebalance to current facility requirements. If it's been a large change, they have to do that. Normally, corrective actions are normally implemented by the owner through separate procurement channels. You're normally not involved in that at all. Can be implemented or managed by the RCx provider depending upon the RCx contract by a separate contract. In other words, if you're capable of doing that, and that's something the owner wants you to do, then you can do that. Normally we don't, because normally we're working for normally our retrocommission projects are for fairly big customers, and they already have the capability of doing this themselves. Corrections must be commissioned and tested by the RCx provider. That's very, very important. If you don't commission the work, they can't really hold you responsible for it not working. And also, by commissioning it, you then may be able to guarantee that it actually works, and it helps your reputation, and it's a great sales tool for the next job. Remember, you're always working for customers, have lots of buildings, so you're always working for that next job. Only way to hold an RCx provider is responsible for predicted results. Now that's in the whole building. They need to keep you involved. If they don't, then you're at risk. The report update. Previously provided RCx report to include all corrective actions, which include all corrective action construction or repair documents, all corrective action commissioning reports, all the final results of corrective action performance and savings, verify the owner's continuous performance CPT system is up and working. So, you finish an RCx process, and normally a lot of times corrective action can take several months or years. And then when you're done with that, you come back and update the report so that the owner has a total documentation of what you were able to do through the RCx project. Include the latest update of the CPT system in the updated RCx report. So that's pretty quick, but that's the process of the end of the project. And then the end, you've got to be careful to not let the end get away from you. because if you lose contact with the project, then the results you had may be diminished. And so you don't want to do that for your marketing purposes and for your reputation. All right, I hope these retrocommissioning videos were beneficial to you. I know that it's a process that works. I guarantee that it works. It works well. And I hope you use it. We have millions of buildings that don't work, so I'm hoping you can get in there and help them do a better job. So appreciate you watching the videos. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you on the next ones. Thank you. Have a great day.